Sup guys, Fat Archon here, bringing another 40k video. Today should be a short one, most likely, I guess we'll see. I'm gonna be addressing the recent rumors surrounding demons and the future of their codex. There's been a lot of people talking about the rumor, especially lately, especially over just like the last week. On Reddit alone, I've probably seen like half a dozen people asking about it. It's always the same question. Are you guys concerned about the rumors surrounding demons and their future codex? I've even been asked myself, on the video I did the other day for the Greater Demon tier list, I had a couple people asking me if I believe the rumors or not. So yeah, I want to address them head on, let you guys know my thoughts, and yeah, we'll kind of dig into it a little bit. So first of all, what even is the rumor? So the rumor is that they're about to get Deathwatched. Us old timers, we might call it getting like squatted. Way back in, I believe it was 2nd edition, maybe 3rd edition, squats, who are now Leagues of Votann, they got completely removed from the game. So if you ever hear somebody talking about getting squatted or whatever, that's what they mean. Now, I will say, nobody thinks that like demons are going to get completely removed from 40k, at least nobody I've seen. There's like two main variations of the rumor that I've seen. The first is that they're going to go the Age of Sigmar route. So they're going to separate all the gods in their own books. So you're going to have a book specifically for like Khorne, another for Slaanesh, another for Tzeentch, Nurgle, etc. The other one, and probably the most popular version, is that they're going to get rolled into the other Chaos Codexes. So Death Guard is where all the Nurgle demons will go. Emperor's Children for Slaanesh, World Eaters for Khorne, etc. Now, I guess, in a sense, in a way, you could say there's like supporting evidence, or it's not like as outrageous as it might sound at first, considering it literally just happened to Deathwatch, and I do think that's like a huge reason why we're seeing the rumor come up again, especially lately. Deathwatch has been its own thing since like 7th edition, and now just last week, as of recording, they rolled them into the new Agents of the Imperium Codex. My heart does go out to Deathwatch players, by the way, and I know a few of them. For sure, they weren't that popular, but if you guys want, like, my honest opinion, I blame GW for it. GW, like, barely supported those guys at all. They probably shouldn't have made them like they did in the first place, if you want, like, my super honest opinion. But regardless, like, it's GW's fault that they had to get rid of them. I don't mind GW, like, pruning some of the armies, because there are a boatload. There's, like, I forget how many. There's like over 30 armies, like something like that. So it's not the worst thing to have to get rid of some, but like, is this the best way to do it? That's debatable. Regardless, though, so that's the rumor. Now, where did it even start? So this is something I've been having a hell of a time trying to narrow down. I've been doing a lot of Google searches, setting like the date ranges, so it's like over a month ago, all that sort of stuff. First of all, this rumor's been around like over a decade. Since at least like 6th edition, people have been bringing it up, so like, good luck finding the genesis. I will say too, a lot of people are like spreading it, and in my opinion, they're sort of spreading it for like no reason at all. Now, obviously, you got like random Redditors, and I will say too, like, I'm not trying to offend anybody, and I definitely don't have any ill will versus like anybody, because I'm going to bring up some like content creators and that sort of stuff. First of all, as a YouTube creator, like, come on, man, you need the clicks. So, of course, you want to talk about like spicy stuff. I have no issue with that. And then for normal people like Redditors and that sort of stuff, we're all human, dude. At the end of the day, of course, we're just like, you just want something to talk about. So there's no harm in like, there's not that much harm in like bringing it up. But I do think it's sort of like a baseless rumor. But like Chapter Master Valrak, he put out a video where he brought it up. Also, Spiky Bits, who are like, love or hate him, they put out a lot of content. They do a lot of articles on 40k. They brought it up as well. Now, if you watch or read those articles, you will see that they like straight up say that they don't believe it themselves, or that's like there's like no supporting evidence whatsoever, especially Chapter Master Valrak. I love that guy. I got no issue against that guy at all. Let me just make that clear. But even he was saying that like, yeah, I don't believe it myself, but this is just what I heard. So yes, it is getting like spread around a lot. And like I said, with it literally just happening to Deathwatch, like it's natural that people are going to start like digging this up again. But again, it's been around for like ages, since at least like 6th edition. Now, if you guys couldn't tell like right off the bat, I don't believe it at all. And I have a bunch of reasons for why I don't believe it. First of all, it straight up just feels like one of those rumors that like somebody just posted on Reddit once randomly. They just like made it up and like stated it as fact. Other people read it and then they just like ran with it. Again, we're all humans. It's like completely natural. You see something spicy and interesting, you just repeat it just for like the sake of conversation. So again, I have no like ill will versus anybody, but 1000%, man, that's just what like it feels like. Second of all, I already mentioned it, but this rumor's been around for ages, since at least 6th edition. We'll get into, there is like some supporting evidence, because demons did used to be with like CSM, but since they got separated, people have been talking about them like going away. Other reasons I don't believe it, so demons are like surprisingly popular, guys. Right directly before I recorded this video, I went on 40kstats.com. Check it out, it's a great website, ran by Goonhammer. I went on their website and I looked up the faction popularity. Demons were one of the most popular factions in the last month or so. They were like way more popular than like even Blood Angels, obviously League of Votann. Like half the armies I looked, and more than half, it was like 3/4. They were like more popular. Now, is that because of the data slate? Like, yes, obviously that is going to play into it. But even before the data slate came out, demons were like fairly popular. I would put them in like the bottom half of armies, but I wouldn't put them anywhere near like the bottom third. I would say they're like right in the middle. That's just like my personal opinion. I didn't dig into it like a boatload, so I don't know like long term how popular they are or aren't. But I do know from my experience, for sure, man. I've been seeing demons. Demons are like a pretty common sight since like as long as I've been playing 40k. Another reason I don't really buy it is just like if you think about the profit margins, if you look at it from like a company point of view. So a single greater demon, something they designed like 5 years ago, so all the design work's already paid for. They probably already made like all the kits they ever needed. Like I doubt they have to print like that many. A single greater demon is $160, if not more, and it's not that much plastic compared to like a big ass kit. Dude, you buy an entire like battle force for not that much more money than a single greater demon. And as a demons player, you need a boatload of them, man. They're like 9 mandatory, and even if they weren't mandatory, people love the models so much that they still buy them. I own probably like 8 greater demons, even though I only ever run like half of them ever in an army. It's like, it's kind of ridiculous. You gotta think too that you can use them as allies. So like every single Chaos army has access to demons, and a boatload of them do run them, especially in casual play. But even like the tournament scene, we love our demons, man. So the amount of money, again, it was already like designed like years ago. All that design work's like already done and paid for. Like, why would GW get rid of such a cash cow? Like, I just don't. Yeah, I just don't see that happening. Another reason I don't really buy it is that the undivided demons would have to go somewhere, especially Be'lakor. Be'lakor would have to go in the right book, and the only book he'd go into would be the Chaos Space Marines Codex. Well, that Codex already came out, and I don't see him in there. Now, I guess in theory, you could like errata it, or you could do like an index like they're doing with the Emperor's Children, but just yet another reason that like it's really hard to believe, at least for 10th edition. We'll get into like some of the other reasons here in a little bit. That's like the second half of the video, but for now, like so many signs are pointing to like not possible. I will say too, I don't think that the monogods, I don't think the monogods have enough models to truly be like, at least for the AOS version of the rumors, so them getting split into their own books, unless GW gave us a bunch of new kits, or they unlock the Age of Sigmar kits, which I don't really see happening. I think GW purposely like makes sure that you can't run them between both game systems anymore, because, you know, it's more sales for them or whatever. But again, monogods especially, I don't think they have enough models to be put in their own books. And even if you do combine them with like Death Guard, for example, Nurgle with Death Guard, dude, you'd have like half a dozen extra units that like nobody would ever run. The sales would fall through the floor. Like, yeah, I think it'd be a terrible decision there. And again, I don't think they have enough models to be ran on their own. However, when they're all in one codex, damn, dude, you got one of the biggest like books that there is. The last reason I don't buy it is just like how much they're built into the fabric of Warhammer. Not just 40k, but like Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Fantasy, even the Old World, like they are a big deal, man. Since the very start of Warhammer, they have been around. Now, I do see the argument that like, oh, well, they wouldn't go away. They'd be like rolled in the other codexes. But again, if you look at it from like a sales point of view, if you're running like Death Guard, are you really going to buy that many Nurgle demons? Like, sure, of course you get like a great unclean one. He'd look sick next to like Mortarion. Maybe a couple like kits of Nurglings. But like, are you going to buy the rest of their kits? Not at all, man. People are going to stick with their main Chaos army and maybe like barely dabble into it. I should mention too that allies are a thing. You can still run them. That was actually like, man, I believe it was 9th edition that they quit making it so that you can like combine them all together as allies like really easily. I almost quit 40k when that happened, and I'll tell you too, as like a huge Demons fan, I would be like outrageously pissed if they do what people are like spreading the rumor about. So hopefully that explains like my point of view, like the reasons I don't think it'll happen. By the way, I would love to hear your guys' opinions. Whether you share my point of view or not, like don't be afraid to leave a comment below. And in fact, I have seen a few people, it's like the minority, but I have seen some people saying that they actually agree with this change, would actually like to see it. If that's something you believe, like I would like to hear your opinion. Now, I do request everybody keep it civil. Everybody's always welcome to their own point of view. I will never tell you that you're like stupid or have a bad idea or whatever. And by the way, if you guys get outrageous, I'm just going to remove your comment. So just be aware of that. But I do think it's something that's worth discussing. So again, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Now, so those are all the reasons that, like, I don't think it'll happen. But what about some of the reasons that, like, it could? What about some of the, like, the circumstantial evidence? Well, first of all, you got the obvious bit. It literally just happened to Deathwatch. I know I mentioned that in the beginning of the video, but, like, it literally just happened to another army. So it's not like unprecedented. If you think about it, it's like obviously happened to squats in the past. And Demonkin in like 7th edition, they used to be a thing. If I'm not mistaken, weren't Demonkin, didn't they come out like near the very end of 7th? Then 8th edition came out like just a few months later and then they never talked about it again. But it's not like unheard of for like GW to do. The other obvious one is Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar, they did split them all into their own codexes. They gave them like funny names and all that stuff too. So what, the like Sybarites of Slanesh, or I forget their name. I don't play AOS. I need to. I've been meaning to get into it, but regardless, I don't play AOS, but there is a precedent there. Now, I will say they have way more options than we do. They have probably like double the kits for each of the monogods. They have like probably double the kits that you do in 40k. I guess, again, they could like release new models or more likely like unlock the AOS kits for 40k. So there is a way that like GW could like fix that. I will say too, I am really jealous of the Age of Sigmar kits, especially, I think it's called like the Lord of Gluttony or whatever, the big fat Slaneshi dude. He's like one of my favorite models ever, and dude, could you imagine for Fat Archon, like he would be such a perfect like HQ, I'd run him in like every army ever. Anyways, I digress. Another reason, another like supporting evidence or whatever, Demons did used to be part of Chaos Space Marines. I think it wasn't until like 2008, so like 5th edition, 6th edition, like sometime around then is when they finally separated them from the main like Chaos Space Marine Codex. So way back in the day, like 3rd edition, easy example, they were all part of the same book. Now you do have to like bear in mind that those were different times, dude. There was probably like half the variety that we have now, probably even less than that. There was like way less kits than there are now. So to combine them all together, can you imagine how big a book Chaos Space Marines plus all the demons together would be? I know that's not like the rumor that people are saying. They're going to spread them in their own books, but that would be like outrageous, dude. It'd be like over 100, probably like 120 freaking like different kits to go through. So it would be like a lot of bookkeeping there. Now, in my opinion, was probably like the best like piece of like supporting evidence or whatever. Probably the biggest reason that maybe it could be true, which again I really don't believe. But the biggest like piece of evidence, in my opinion, would be just the number of kits that GW's been removing for Chaos Demons. Maybe you guys haven't been paying attention in the web store, but they've removed like the majority of like epic heroes and just like characters, period. Like a boatload of them are missing. Probably like half of them are gone. So, Blue Scribes, they're gone. Epidemius, he's gone. Fluxmaster, he's gone. Changecaster, I'm pretty sure he's gone. Transweaver for Slanesh, they're gone. And that is almost always, that is like a sure sign that they're getting removed from the next codex. So actually, like, do be careful, guys, if you're collecting demons right now. I would not pick up any of those resin models, and if they aren't available on the web store, like, I just wouldn't get them. Unfortunately, it does affect some of the, like, better models they have, too, even the ones in plastic. So, some of the Nurgle ones are gone. I'm having a brain fart. I'm forgetting them off the top of my head. Spoilpox Scrivener, like, he's gone. That model is sick, dude. That's one of the best-looking models, like, small ones that GW's, like, ever made. I'm really sad to see him gone. Now, I do think, my personal opinion, I think they're going to redo some of them. Epidemius is like, dude, he's like insanely popular. Like, I would be actually pretty surprised if they didn't re-release him. And my assumption, my rumor that I'm going to spread is that when the Demons Codex comes, he's going to be one of the new models we get. Because he's really big in like Total War Warhammer. Like, he's one of the best, like, most popular characters there. And he's been a huge part of just like the lore and fluff. And like everybody loves Epidemius, basically, is what I'm getting at. Regardless, though, so they have been removing a lot of kits, so whether they're, like, pruning it so they fit into the other codexes better, like, you know, it remains to be seen. Again, I don't believe it one bit, but it is a piece of, like, circumstantial evidence. The last reason, and another one of the big ones, in my opinion, would just be, like, the lack of support the demons have gotten, at least the last few years. I think it was 5 years ago they got a huge range refresh. They redid all the greater demons. They gave us the Wrath and Rapture box set, which, by the way, was, like, sick. They gave us new fiends, a bunch of new characters. Like, that's when I jumped, like, head first into demons. Like, big time. I got in them after Wrath and Rapture. But aside from those, I can't really think of any, like, support we've gotten. We got a new Demon Prince a good, like, year, maybe 2 years ago. Did Be'lakor come out around Wrath and Rapture? I forget exactly when Be'lakor came out, but aside from Be'lakor and the Demon Prince, we really haven't gotten, like, any support at all. Now, that doesn't really mean, like, that much. If you think about it, that's just, like, standard, like, procedure for Games Workshop. Dark Eldar got a huge range refresh. I think it was, like, 7th edition, and since then, they've gotten barely anything. I think they got, what, like, Lilith, and then they got new Mandrakes in the kill team, but aside from those, they really haven't gotten, like, that much love at all. Eldar are going the same route. Like, yeah, I know it's kind of recently they got all the new kits, but, like, everybody knows GW's not going to touch them for, like, a good while. So it's not, like, that big of a sign, but it is something to be aware of. So overall, those are some of the reasons that, like, I guess maybe it could be true. I think they're kind of weak, honestly. Like, not many of those are, like, unique to demons at all. Not getting support for a few years, like, that's every army ever, unless you're Space Marines. And then having kits, like, cut, that's just, like, 10th edition. GW's been pruning a lot of armies. Speaking of Space Marines, like, look at them, man. They lost a boatload, and they aren't going anywhere. So I don't think it's, like, again, I don't think it's that strong of evidence that could be happening. Now, I am mainly talking about 10th edition. 11th edition, like, who freaking knows, man? GW does like to follow in Age of Sigmar steps, it does seem like. And I mean, you know, that's what they're doing in Age of Sigmar, so maybe it'll happen in 40k. Again, me personally, I don't really see it happening, but it is like a potential possibility. But that's like years away from now. And I wouldn't be surprised if GW like milks 10th edition for a good while, because it does seem like really popular, and 40k is in like a really good place. I wasn't that sold on 10th when it first came out, but honestly, after playing it the last year, it is one of the better editions that we've had. I'm so glad that they got rid of the like 3 dozen stratagems for every single army, the like ridiculously broken, overpowered rules, and like overlapping auras and all this sort of stuff. So like 10th edition is in a really good place. 11th edition though, who can really say? Anyways, hopefully that like explains my thoughts on the subject. I really wanted to get this out there, especially for anybody who's like, dude, if you're like holding off on picking up demons because you're afraid they're going to get like split into different books or they're going to get combined with other armies or anything like that, don't at all be afraid. I think like, let's say it does happen like eventually, I think the earliest it would possibly happen to be 11th edition. Why would GW make like such a huge change in the middle of an edition? I really don't foresee it happening. So the bare minimum, you got like 2 years, probably way more than that, 2 years to like enjoy your demons. And again, even in 11th edition, I don't really see it happening. Now again, genuinely, sincerely, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the subject. Whether you agree with me or not, I would definitely love to hear what you guys have to say. Because legit, I have seen a few people saying that, yeah, man, they think it's a good idea. They would actually like to see it. And if you're one of those people who think that way, I'd love to hear why, man. Like, you know, the more info we can get out there, the better. I think it's something that's like worth discussing. Like, don't be afraid to like share your own opinion, even if you disagree with me. Anyways, hopefully you guys like found this informative, found it entertaining, all that sort of stuff. If you could, like, please give the video a like, at least if you enjoyed the content. If you haven't already, like, consider subscribing. As usual, I gotta send a shout out to all the supporters. I got a boatload, man. It's like, yeah, it's kind of crazy how many channel supporters we got. So thank you, Tim, Nick, Oregon Lady, Spooky Kabuki, DJP. Like, thank all of you guys for supporting the channel. If anybody else who cares to support what I'm doing, I will post a link to my Patreon down below. And of course, you can become a member through YouTube as well. Regardless, though, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you're not like too afraid on picking up demons, but otherwise, good luck out there, and remember, death to the false emperor.